Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to sit down and film this video while it was still fresh in my mind because I feel like the more kids you have, the more you forget. So Riley, who is right here behind me, is 20 weeks old today. I cannot even believe it. But last week we had a major sleep regression, and I can only attribute that to the 4-month sleep regression that everybody warns you about. I honestly cannot remember if we went through it with both of the boys in the past, because like I said, you kind of forget once you're on the other side of it. So I just wanted to sit down and share our experiences with you guys today in case you guys are going through it as well. So please go ahead and hit subscribe, give me the thumbs up, and drop a comment down below. I would really appreciate it, and it really help out my channel, and I hope you enjoy. All right, so Riley is behind me right here, and as I mentioned, she is 20 weeks old, 4.5 months or so, and yes, we went through an awful sleep regression last week, so I just wanted to put it all out there and share our experience while it is still fresh in my mind. If you are new here, I also do have 2 older kids. My oldest child is almost 5, which is insane, and then I have my middle son, who is 3, and then of course, Riley. My oldest son was a great sleeper, a very happy baby, and I don't really think he went through any sleep regressions or those typical leaps that you hear about. Maybe he did, maybe we just didn't pick up on it, but he was a great sleeper from the beginning, and everything was just smooth sailing at the time with him, and if it wasn't, I can't remember it now. My second child, however, was the polar opposite. He was so fussy, didn't sleep for 2 years, up all night. Totally different experience. And I think because we were so consumed with his fussiness, he had a lot of food allergies and things, we didn't even notice sleep regressions because he didn't sleep no matter what. So we kind of had both ends of the spectrum there, and Riley's kind of in the middle. Her temperament is very easygoing. She's super happy, just like my first was, but she's not that great of a sleeper, especially at night. But last week it went off the charts, and it was a rough one. I also want to include that since she's my third, since I stay home full time, and since we're kind of in the whole COVID world, we don't really have that much of a schedule. Everything has been dictated by her. We didn't have a set bedtime. We don't have a set nighttime routine even. We kind of just go with the flow based on her cues. But around that 15-week, 16-week period, I did notice that on her own, she was starting to get into her own sleep routine, falling asleep within 1 to 2 hours after waking in the morning, and then 3 hours later going down for another nap, and getting tired for the night around 8 p.m. as opposed to 10 p.m., which is when she was falling asleep before that. So on her own, around 4 months, she was getting into her own routine, her own rhythm, and we were just kind of sticking with that. So if she started to get tired every night at 8, we would just then swaddle her up at 8, put her in her room with the sound machine on, and just hope she went to sleep. She started to do pretty well with that, and because she was getting more consistent in her daytime and sleep time, or her daytime and nighttime sleep, we were starting to put her in her crib for the first period of the night and also for her first nap of the day. We never had a successful sleeping through the night in the crib. It might only last for an hour or 2, but because she was getting more consistent on her own, we were kind of just rolling with it. That all came to a halt at 4 months and 1 day when she just stopped napping, stopped sleeping at night, and I mean waking up every 20 minutes around the clock for 5 days. It was huge. We did not notice much of a change in her temperament during the day. Of course, when she got overtired towards the end of the day, she was extra fussy and wanted to nurse a lot more. But it didn't seem that like she was in pain, or it didn't seem like she was teething. She wasn't very unhappy. She just wasn't sleeping, and especially at night. In order to kind of combat this regression, we tried to stick with the routine that we'd already been doing for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, and that was just around 8 p.m. after we put the boys down for bed, we would just start getting her ready for bed, but she wasn't having it. So I do think, though, the best thing you can do in a sleep regression is just kind of go with the flow. We tried to keep some consistency with what we were doing before, but if it doesn't work, don't fight it, because you're just going to add additional stress to yourself. So if extra nursing is what the baby wants during that period, do that. But try to control and keep consistent what you can, and the things that you can't, just let it go. But like anything, sleep regressions are short-lived. It is just a period in time, a little blip in time, even though it feels like forever when you're living it. But within 5 days, she definitely was on the other side and went back to the same kind of routine and schedule that she was already used to. Just as a little overview, what we've been doing for sleep arrangements, we still have the Baby Delight Bedside Dreamer, the bassinet that I've reviewed previously. That is still in our room and beside our bed. And up until 2 or 3 weeks ago, we would always start her off in that bassinet in one of these sleep suits with the sound machine on really, really loud. And if she would wake up in the middle of the night, I might bring her into bed with me and a nurse or whatever is most convenient. But since she's kind of gotten to a little more of a routine, we've been trying to start her off in her crib at night for that first stretch. She has not slept in her crib all night long. She's only given us a few hours at a time in there, and most of the time it's when we're still downstairs and awake. But once she wakes up for that first time, we just bring her in our room because it's that much easier for us to cater to her in there. And we also don't want to wake up the other kids. So when we bring her in our room, I might nurse her and put her in our bed, or ideally I'd put her back in the bassinet, which is next to my bed. So she's still young and she is still waking up and feeding in the middle of the night. And that's pretty common with breastfed babies. She's never taken a bottle. So we're just kind of going with the flow, and hopefully in time, she's gonna kind of regulate herself even more. So of course, every parenting style is different. Some people live by the book and wanna follow those apps and wanna follow a routine every day and a schedule every night, whatever works for you. But over time and with more kids, I've definitely kind of loosened the reins on that schedule and let things be more dictated by the baby and their needs. So like I said, I did not start out of the gate as a newborn with a set bedtime, with anything like that. It was all just when she got tired, when she was hungry, etc. Or when I was going to bed, I'd just bring her to bed then just to see if it would work. But on her own, around 3-4 months, she got into her own routine, and we kind of just stuck with that as it worked for her. This sleep regression kind of threw that whole thing out the window, but after that week or the 5 days, we're now back on track with where we were. We put her down for her first nap of the day, which is usually around 2 hours after waking in the morning in her crib. And we start her in her crib for nighttime sleep as well, around 8 p.m. or whenever she really starts getting tired at night. We are still using the Magic Merlin sleep suits, and we absolutely love this. I do think this helped a lot in the sleep regression because when she was fighting the sleep, this calms her and settles her a lot faster. But even this was not keeping her asleep during that week-long regression. So we are now in the large size. We just went up from the small, the 3 to 6 month, to this large one, which is 6 to 9 months, because she's a big baby. So that's just the gist of our experience. It kind of came out of nowhere, hit us like a freight train at exactly 4 months and 1 week and lasted 5 days, but we're on the other side of it now, and she's back kind of to the routine and everything that we were beforehand. So I guess my advice is just go with the flow. It's only gonna be a short period of time. Try to be consistent if you can, sticking with a similar bedtime or a similar sleep routine, a similar swaddle or sleep suit. But if the baby's not having it, don't force it because it's just a short period of time. So once they're on the other side of it, you can revisit your kind of normal routine, your normal schedule, your normal sleeping arrangements. So that is our experience. I hope it helps you. Drop a comment down below if you have any other tips or your experiences as well. I'm sure there's another sleep regression coming up at some point in the future, or teething is gonna come into play, but whatever it may be, we're just gonna take it in stride because I think that's all you can do as parents. So I hope this is helpful. Do not stress if you're currently in one or if you think that one's coming. It's gonna happen, it's gonna be okay. We all make it through and out on the other side. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit subscribe and I'll catch you in the next one.
We got time on our side. We're in a state of hope.